I picked up some comic books this weekend, including a flea market dealer, and I came this close, so close, to a huge grail. Let's take a look up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, comic book community. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you. Hey there, comic book community. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. We're getting real close to our 3,000 subscriber giveaway. And if we do cross that 3,000 subscriber threshold in the month of November, we will be doing a giveaway, actually multiple giveaways, for 3,000 subscribers at the beginning of December. So if you enjoy this content, do all that stuff that helps the algorithm, bring people to this channel, and I really appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody who supported the channel and commented and reached out to me and seen me at shows. It's really been a lot of fun, this ride, for about the last year and a half that I've been doing this. Also, we can follow me on other socials. I'm on Instagram at Bronzeville_comics, also on Whatnot at Bronzeville_comics, and in the description there is a link. You can get $10 off your first purchase, and it doesn't have to be with me. And also there's a link to my eBay store in the description. So I'm just going to get into a few things that I picked up and a mail unboxing. So first, at the crawl that I did some videos of last week, the 3 Men in a Basement crawl, my buddy Joe from 360 Comics gave me a birthday gift. And don't read anything into this. I don't think it's... I'm collecting all the DC 100-pagers. He had gotten this as part of a collection, I believe. This is Young Love number 107. The hardest books to pick up. I'm trying to get all the DC 100 pages. This is a 50 center. So this is an early one. There were 50 centers for a while, and then there were 60 centers for a while, and DC cut back on the page count and had giants after that. But I'm trying to get all the 100 pages from the 70s, and the genre books are the most difficult to obtain. You don't see them as often. Obviously, my first love is the superhero stuff and the detective comics and the Batman, the Superman, the action, the Justice League, the Brave and the Bold, all that sort of stuff. I really enjoy picking that up, but the war books, the horror books, the romance books are a little more challenging to find. So it's really great to get that. I also, I've been slowing down my Whatnot purchases recently, but I got this from, I think it's Batcave Cards and Comics. I just popped into a show one night, cheap book, and I decided to pick it up, and it keeps with the same theme as the book I just showed you. And then we're going to move into more like speculative stuff, more than PC stuff. And kind of what I'm looking at recently in terms of picking up. And I'm trying to go... I've been picking up a lot of DC keys, really over the last year and a half, because I am a DC guy. So, well packaged here. Inside a bubble mailer is I believe this is a nice little Gemini. Got some painter's tape. And get this open. There we go. This is going to be not really worth all the effort of me opening it up. So I am, picking up those keys, and I've been picking up some keys. I'm trying, you try to stay away from the FOMO and steer clear of the books that everybody else is talking about that are making the hot list, because if they're on the hot list, is not the time to buy them. And so I'm just kind of looking at books that I find interesting and I think have possibilities, and also books that I think, especially moderns, that are higher grade, that I think will potentially have the potential to grade out high, like 9.8, maybe 9.6. So here's another book in that same genre. So that was Young Love. This is Young Romance, number 198. So that's kind of two cool books for my 100-page collection. Let's throw them over here. So this past weekend, I just went out and about. I was feeling a little bit under the weather, so I didn't do a whole lot. I kind of slept in on Saturday morning. And I was thinking of going to the flea market, but I kind of dialed back, and I went to Streetside Anthony's. Always get great deals from him. So I picked up a pile of books. Justice Society of America #6, Alex Ross cover of Damage. So I think that's a pretty cool cover there. At first I'm thinking it's Atom Smasher, but it's not Damage. Become a fan of Mike Allred's work, and I never picked up this Silver Surfer run, so this is #1. Figured throw that in there. Sleepwalker, #1. Just a kind of sleepy little key, if you will. I believe I have the entire series originally. This is a book, and Erod has also picked up this book recently. I think I have like 3 or 4 copies of this that I've picked up. Swordmaster 1. He becomes the new Iron Fist. Never know, that could work out. A lot of people thought we were going to see this character in She-Hulk because they thought they might have seen like part of his costume in the side of a frame. It wasn't him. But he does have connection to She-Hulk, and I think it's a character that is worth throwing a few shekels on. Also, it's a newsstand copy of Jack of Hearts, his first mini-series. I think this is the only series that he's ever had. It's a newsstand edition. Then I picked this up. This is the first Birds of Prey in Showcase 96, #3. See, Lois Lane is part of the Birds of Prey, I think. Is that the separate Lois Lane story? I think it's her and Black Canary. Anyway, it's kind of a prequel. This Marvel Comics presents 117. This Sam Keith cover with Venom and Wolverine. That's a book, again, if it grades out 9.6, 9.8, it's really worth it. Then I picked up, Anthony had gotten a collection with a bunch of these. I've been picking these up. These have fallen a little bit in value, but these Stephen Platt covers from the end of the Mark Spector Moon Knight run are still highly desirable. Almost all of them. So I got number 56. And then I also got number 58. Again, these books in 9.8 still command a little bit of a premium. And then the first one he did, which is 55. I think he did 55 through 60, which was the end of the run. That's another run I have the entirety of in my collection. I also thought this was a pretty high-grade copy of this. Take a closer look at that, see if we can get a 9.8 on that. That would be awesome. This classic Jim Lee cover. Looks pretty clean to me. And then I have a number of copies of this. Been picking this up, and this is Justice League 31 from the New 52, the first full appearance of Jessica Cruz. She goes by the moniker Power Ring in this story, but there's been a reorganization of how DC is approaching the Green Lantern HBO Max series. They kind of threw all the scripts away. It was supposed to focus, at least they had already cast Guy Gardner and Alan Scott, and people thinking maybe Kyle Rayner, Jessica Cruz, and some of the other Lanterns. And they were saving Hal Jordan, John Stewart for the big screen, and now they've switched and kind of pivoting this show towards John Stewart, which makes me happy because I have a lot of John Stewart keys. And then the final book I picked up here, I think I had this as part of a collection I got recently as well. Young Avengers #6. I was a little disappointed the collection didn't have #1, but this is the first appearance of, and it's a very soon-to-be huge key, the first appearance of Cassie Lang as Stature, as she joins the team. And then I had picked up some books. A vendor at a flea market that I go to that cares about once a month, he'd taken my number, reached out to me, he got couple of new collections in. So I met him. He had a couple of small piles of books, and he basically is $1 a book. So he probably gets them for 10 cents a piece or something. So I went through, and I picked up a few of the books he had. Unfortunately, condition was not that spectacular on a lot of these. So I picked up, he had some magazines. This Epic Illustrated, which is the last Galactus story by John Byrne and Terry Austin. That's, you know, with this, I think that's a Sienkiewicz cover with Galactus. I think that's a really interesting cover. A book that's underappreciated. Another thing that's underappreciated is considering the creative team. It's a Marvel graphic novel. Now, this is the third print. I believe it's Marvel graphic novel number 26. Daredevil story by Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz. Really underappreciated. And then he had a few issues of Savage Sword of Conan. Picked all of those up. Right? Just why not for less than $1 a piece. And then I picked up some other books that have, you know, some of them have a little bit of key significance. I picked up this Young All-Stars because I know I'm missing a couple issues, but I'm not sure which ones because I haven't organized my collection through the Ys yet. Secret Origins number 6. Not a big issue, but the Golden Age Batman story is art by Marshall Rogers and Terry Austin. It's written by Roy Thomas, and it basically weaves in the elements of Batman in those very early issues of Detective Comics, including his love interest at the time, Julie Madison. And, I mean, anytime you get Marshall Rogers art on Batman, that's amazing. And then he had some New Teen Titans, the second volume, when they went to the Baxter paper. If you're old enough to remember that, both New Teen Titans and the Legion of Superheroes, and then later the Outsiders went in that direction. So, you know, the annual number 1, not a huge key, but I figured he basically is $1 a piece, 6 books for $5. So if you get multiples of 6, it's 83 cents. Number 20, Jason Todd joins the New Teen Titans. Again, a very minor key. Where is it? I have it here. Number 9. This is the first appearance of Cole, who is a character that had like a crystalline powers, and she died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So really didn't hear much of her after that. Death of Trigon in New Teen Titans number 5. And anything that was essentially George Perez, I was picking up because it's George Perez. You know. Issue number 3, just great Perez art. And then issue number 1 of this second volume, kind of a cover homage to issue number 1 of the first volume. And then they also had some Tales of the Teen Titans. So what happened is, I think it was in 1984, Tales of the Teen Titans continued the numbering from New Teen Titans Volume 1. And the big key there, obviously, is number 44. And that was not in here. And it was frustrating because there were some books right around it. And what they had was 49. And again, I picked this up because it's Perez art. And at a certain point, I forget which issue. So they started the New Teen Titans, which was on the Baxter paper, which is the better paper. The paper was whiter and thicker, and the colors on the ink were more vibrant than the newsstand. And then Tales of the New Teen Titans continued the newsstand for a while. And I forget what issue it was that they, the Tales of the Teen Titans started publishing reprints from New Teen Titans. They did the same thing with Legion of Superheroes. And then issue number 50 is the marriage of Donna Troy, Wonder Girl, and Terry Long. And then there were some Legion books. Unfortunately, I picked up one, and then I looked at it later. It's in kind of worn or damaged shape. So that probably just throw in a dollar bin. Number 38, which is the second part of the Death of Superboy storyline. They kind of had to write Superboy out of continuity after Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is a theme that goes with the next book. I had issue number 10 before. This is issue number 1 of the Young All-Stars. So this was written by Roy Thomas. And Roy Thomas wrote All-Star Squadron starting in the early 1980s. And he did a great job of taking the Golden Age characters from DC and Quality, and a little bit later on the Marvels from Fawcett, introducing some new characters. and kind of weaving the storylines together into a new continuity. And I think he actually coined the term retcon, because he took the elements of the stories that were published at the time, kind of went back to Pearl Harbor was really where it started, December 1941, and then the story where the Justice Society members joined the armed forces. And what happened is when Crisis on Infinite Earths came along, he was kind of boxed into a corner because he had the entirety of Earth 2 to play with. Now, Earth 2 was DC's answer to how heroes existed from the golden age of comics. And it really started with the Crisis on Two Earths, where, or the Flash of Two Earths, where Barry Allen Flash, the Silver Age Flash, meets Jay Garrick Flash, the Golden Age Flash, and it's explained that, yeah, Jay Garrick's on a different Earth and different vibrational frequencies. And essentially, all the stories from the Golden Age took place on Earth 2. So you had the Golden Age Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, briefly Aquaman, Green Arrow. All those characters also existed in Earth 1 with the same secret identities. And so when Crisis on Infinite Earths came along, they retconned, and no longer were there, it was all one continuity. So Jay Garrick, Flash, and Alan Scott, Green Lantern, etc., existed on the single Earth after Crisis with their Golden Age stories, but the characters are the same. Clark Kent Superman, Bruce Wayne Batman, Diana Prince Wonder Woman, etc., no longer existed. So Thomas created kind of counterpart characters, including Iron Monroe, who was like the Superman character and is more based on the pulp heroes like Doc Savage. And that was the Young All-Stars. He had these younger heroes that were similar in some ways to those heroes that went away after Crisis. And it wasn't the same, at least for me, and I think the sales back that up. And then the rest I picked up were Spider-Man books. One spectacular Spider-Man book, 148. And then some amazing Spider-Mans. And this is where, I picked up 368. Again, these are in lower grade. 308, Todd McFarlane cover. I think that's McFarlane, I believe. That was during his run on book. That might not be. I think that is, but I don't see an autograph. Oh, yeah, it is. It is McFarlane. Up there. Focus. Yeah, right there. And then 303. 302. 301. That's it. So close to Amazing Spider-Man 300, the first appearance of Venom, but it wasn't there. And certainly nobody had picked over these books before, because he said he had picked the books up, got in touch with me, I got first dibs. I don't know if the original owner had kind of set that book aside, had already sold it, whatever it was. But you would also think that anybody who's going through a collection, even though these are lower grade, if you're gonna take 300, you'd probably also take 301. So I was happy to get this, for less than $1. So essentially 83 cents. Nothing wrong with that. But so close, because with the stuff he has, he's not a comic book guy, right? He's just buying stuff, for almost nothing, along with, other things. And, it's essentially a flea market find. People find Amazing Spider-Man 300 for $1. And when you get so close, because if it's unfiltered, completely unfiltered, if somebody's just selling off the collection that their kid left when they moved out of the house 30 years ago, you never know what you're going to get. And there's always the possibility of getting a gem. So just means you got to keep working, got to keep looking for those books. And occasionally, a big one will come along. I've known, people got Ultimate Fallout 4s for like $1 at a flea market. I don't know what my best dollar find is at a flea market. I should try to consider that, but it's always that possibility that the next bin you dig through, the next yard sale, there's going to be a grail. Almost there. reasonably happy with what I got. So some cool stuff. Again, worth what I paid for it, certainly. And then the stuff from Street Side Anthony, a lot of that is high grade, so it's worth taking a closer look at to see if a clean and press can get it into the potential 9A territory, maybe put it in a 9.6 or 9.8 pre-screen. I'd like to thank everyone for stopping by. That's it for the video today. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the books I got in there, and what is your best dollar bin find, the best book that you've found for $1 on the hunt. I'd be interested to hear that, and take a look at a couple of my other videos here and here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.